And welcome back to the Arizona Daily Mix. Managed mom Rachel Harris is living her best life, traveling the globe, doing stories on the places she has been. So let's find out what she has for us from Paris, France. Now, was this on your bucket list to go to, right?
It was, and it only took me 55 years to get there, Brad. But it was so worth the miles and the money and all of it. And I'm gonna dive in because I brought a lot of video.
You did.
So I can take everyone along to Paris.
And let's talk about that very quick before we get into it. That's one thing you recommend. It's okay to take the videos and stuff. You don't have to share all of them, but it's also nice to have those memories, right?
Absolutely. And we took our 21-year-old daughter, and it was just priceless for her as well. But let's start with the first video I brought, because this talks about how to go to Paris for less. We took the train. That is the Thalys Eurostar train. By the way, they're going to merge in October, so there'll be even more service. So we flew into Amsterdam, which costs less than flying into Paris, and then took the train to Paris.
Yes.
Now we did upgrade to premium class, which I do recommend because you get waiters, you get some food, the seats are comfortable, and you know, it's a great way to see the European countryside when you do it by train.
And how long was the drive?
It wasn't too bad, just under 3 hours.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Quite comfortable. They gave us drinks and food, and that's Brussels, going through Brussels on the way to Paris. And the thing that I've talked about before is how I saved up 5 years of membership reward points. A lot of credit cards do it. I did it on American Express, which I then transferred to Delta, then KLM, flew to Amsterdam on KLM, and then took the train to Paris. And that's how we got to Paris for less money, Brad.
Exactly. I think some people want the straight flight there, but again, you said these are ways that you can enjoy more than one country and enjoy some stuff. So there goes the beer and wine list. I knew you were gonna have to show that off.
I went back to the cafe, you know, because you like to walk on the train and everything. But I highly recommend the train, because after we did Paris, we took the train to London. And check it out, they gave us this hearty lunch, because you know the bread in France is so good. So that was so filling. So by the time we safely arrived in Paris, we weren't hungry, and we were ready just to dive in. And actually, we were able to sleep on the train too. So I totally recommend that.
Exactly, and that's what I think I like too, is that you're total off, you're a kilter because of the time change and stuff. So the train is great to sleep, like you said, and then when you get to your destination. Okay,
yeah,
what's
and I
next?
think you can't do Europe without doing the trains.
Oh, no.
Okay, where did we stay?
Okay.
Everyone wants to know where we stayed. So I brought video of that as well. So we stayed, you know what that is, don't you? The famous Arc de Triomphe, which is
that New York? No, just kidding.
I know. No, baby, we're in Paris. And that's on the right bank. We stayed on the right bank in Paris, which was centrally located. That is a Renaissance property, which is part of the Marriott. So we did get points for that. And the R is not for Rachel. It's for Renaissance, but why not? Let's make it for me, right? And so this is video of us coming out every day, because later in the show, we're gonna talk about fashion.
Yeah, look at you.
That's my outfit from Dillard Scottsdale, but there's a purse tucked under there because you have to beware of the pickpocketers. So we're gonna talk about fashion later in the show, because it ends up helping you be safer if you don't stand out like a tourist, okay? Yeah. All right. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna show you is so dreamy. Took my daughter on a Seine dinner river cruise. There we are. I highly recommend this, and I recommend doing it your first night in Paris, because you see a lot of the monuments, and it really helps you get ready for the following days when you're gonna go see these things up close and personal.
Yeah.
A 3-course meal, Brad, wine, champagne. It was amazing. The cruise was about 2 hours long, and you saw the famous bridges and the monuments, and it was just so cool to do this with my daughter. And they have entertainment on board, so check it out. She was such a good singer. So yeah, we had a little fun. I might have had some wine here. We were dancing. We were having a good time.
I love it. I like that.
And she was so elegant, and she would go over to people at the tables and put the mic there if they wanted to sing. I was kind of relieved she didn't do that to me. I did the dancing. And so fun to see the Parisians,
and
you know, resting on the bank.
I do like how you said to do this first.
Yes.
That way you can see the different things you're going to go visit, or get a chance to know where they're at and everything if you've never been. So,
okay, we have to bring up the sound for this. Here's my daughter seeing the Eiffel Tower for the first time. Cheering up.
pretty amazing.
Yep.
Wow.
She was tearing up.
Bawling,
And
crying.
I mean, that she'll never forget that moment, she tells
Yeah.
me. And then I took some nice video, a little close up of the Eiffel Tower, because you can actually see the elevators going up.
Yeah.
And guess what, Brad? That's what we did
You
the
went up?
next day.
Oh my gosh.
We took the elevator up. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Did you guys stay overnight there? Like typical Americans?
Yeah, yes. No, we didn't. I wish we did.
You didn't get drunk and pass out
I
up there
know.
like the
And
Americans?
some people
Okay.
do that. So here we are in the Eiffel Tower, and I do recommend hiring a tour guide. He'll take you up to the third level, give you all the tidbits, and from there you go up by yourself to the top of the Eiffel Tower. And again, it just was so dreamy being up there, seeing Paris from there. You do feel like you're on the top of the world.
Yeah.
And very cool, Gustave Eiffel, who built the Eiffel Tower, had an apartment up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can peek in there and see that.
See where you're staying and
Brad,
stuff. The
champagne.
drinks. Yes.
You can buy a glass of bubbly when you get to the top. And of course, we had a toast. And we had macaroons, which I brought for the crew.
I love
and
it.
My daughter figured out how to place them. You gotta do it. You think, is it overrated going up to the Eiffel Tower? No. Do it.
I love it. All right.
Absolutely dreamy.
We are continuing our trip to Paris, France, with Managed Mom Rachel Harris. What great ideas do you have for us of looking good and fashionable when we're there? That's what we're going to talk about, right?
We are, but the funny thing is, I really wouldn't wear a beret because you'll stand out like a tourist.
Right.
I did that for today. But actually, we're going to start with my first video, which is, say it, the Louvre.
The Louvre.
The Louvre. Did
Yes.
your mom take you there?
Yes.
I knew it.
So yes,
what a great
mother.
mom.
My mom. Yeah, my mom made sure that we were well educated, and we traveled Europe, we traveled Israel, we did a lot of places. But going to the museum is a lot different than what you see on TV and everything. It's very interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I brought video of that because we took our 21-year-old daughter, and she said really it was life-changing. That's the pyramid that takes you into the Louvre. It's also become a Paris landmark. And of course, you're gonna see statues of Louis XIV because before it was a museum, it was a palace.
Yes.
Before they went over to Versailles, right?
Yep.
And then when you get there, spend time walking around the exterior. The detail is incredible. There are gardens that are on the grounds, really just stunning, and you're going back in time. I also recommend booking the tour guide. We did that through Viator. Here we are in the basement, and this is from medieval times.
Yeah.
That is some of the same construction that was used. Of course, that is the famous Great Sphinx of Tanis. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing Zeus, and that was put there in 1807. He was the god of the skies. Next, we have the goddess, can't forget the girls,
Yes.
Aphrodite.
Yeah.
I mean, the sculptures are just stunning. And I loved coming into the main gallery because the Sun King was all about the sun. So
Yeah.
he wanted this to reflect everything about the sun and the moon and the stars.
Yeah.
And that is a crown jewel from 1853.
And that is where you, like you said, the different tours. When I was there was literally I would say it was called Look Up Tour. But all we did was walk around and look at
Oh
the
my
ceilings
goodness,
and
absolutely.
stuff. Was the whole tour, which was
Really?
amazing. And the paintings.
And that's a famous, of course, the Mona Lisa.
Yes.
The thing about this is you have to reserve a space to go in to look at it closer, which we didn't do, and they're kind of shooing us away. There's my daughter having the time of her life.
Yes.
So I do recommend doing that.
And the Mona Lisa is not as big as everyone thinks it is.
Oh, it's so small.
It's like it's a
Yes.
postcard.
That was so surprising to me as well. Again, more great pictures. And then that is Cupid Asleep,
Yes.
that's called. That was put there in 1680. And there's my daughter with ancient Egyptian art made of limestone. And I love the tombs because the art is so intricate, and this is what these people looked like. It's like going
Right.
back in time.
And we got to mention the Louvre is not just about the French art and history there.
Correct.
It's actually the world.
That's right.
Is underneath this one roof, which is amazing.
And it's the world's most visited museum.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
it's-
overrated.
no.
All right,
Okay.
let's talk about fashion.
Yes.
You saw my daughter post this.
Yes.
And so I brought it today. She did a great little video. There she is, all about how to dress in Europe. And while we're watching this fun 22-second video of my daughter Alexis, here are the things you don't want to do in Paris. You don't want to wear flip-flops.
No.
You don't want to wear a ball cap. You don't want to wear logoed clothing. She did it just right. And you also want to keep your purse under a jacket towards the front of you because of pickpockets, and don't keep your wallet in your back pocket. You want to be safe.
Yes, and people have to realize you're still in a city. You're still, even though we make it look so beautiful on TV and movies and stuff, You're still in the city. There's
right.
still not major crime in some of the areas, but there's still a
You want to
city.
be careful.
You want to be careful.
Absolutely,
And
yes.
let me just say, I'm looking at Katie Holmes there a little bit. I think she's like fashion mountain. Isn't that
Oh,
Katie?
she'll love
I think
that.
it's Katie
Thank you,
Holmes. I'm
Brad.
looking. I was like, who does she look like?
Oh.
I'm like a young Katie
It was
Holmes.
just so fun that she did that.
So I love it.
All right,
So, okay.
let's talk about Versailles.
Yes.
All the TV shows, right? Marie Antoinette, Versailles, watch them and go to
Yes.
Versailles. There it is, 12 miles from Paris. And as we know, this became the extravagant royal palace. And during the French Revolution, they were actually forced out, and Marie Antoinette lost her head, the rebellion,
the whole
all of
thing.
that. So rich in history, just gorgeous. Now, I tried to book a private tour. Those were sold out. So we booked through Versailles, and they do let you in every 30 minutes. That's how they bring in the crowds.
Yeah.
Still very packed inside, but worth it. And it was so cool to go through the palace and see the bedroom
Yeah.
of Marie Antoinette and things like. Have you been in Versailles?
Oh my, yes. So again, mother, love her, but we did all of Versailles and
Yeah.
actually did a private. We
Good
did a private.
job,
I don't know how
Mom.
she worked it out,
Hall
but
of
we went
Mirrors.
to places that other people cannot go.
Yeah, and the gardens.
The gardens. That was a big one.
Yes.
And there is another castle that is way out in the woods that literally you have to be on the list to go see it. And that is where they went to hide during some of the revolution.
Right,
and
that's
it
right.
was amazing. So
I think you learn so much more by traveling than you do a history
Yeah.
book.
So-
But yeah, thanks for letting me share.
It
And
is.
yes.
Go ahead.
All the links are in my blog, managemoms.com, and a lot more I didn't get to cover to save you money, tell you how to get there, where to stay, all that good stuff. So thanks for letting me share. I had the time of my life.
I love it. Okay.
Bonjour.
I was gonna say, you got any French in you?
What was that?
You have French? Do you know French?
No, that's the only
Okay.
one I know.
All
Which
right.
they say to say in Paris, because that's the polite thing to do.
There you go.